Okay, I've taken a piece of board and I went into the kitchen and got a jelly jar and just tipped it up and traced the corners, or drew around the corners, and now I'm just going to use my scroll saw and take the corners off. Alright, here's the board I cut, and if you're going to do one of these, you wouldn't have to round it, but I wanted it round. You could leave it square, but I want to like make a little tray, and I'm using the wood and some cardboard, and I've already cut my wood here to 2 inches tall because I wanted it to just come up about an inch and a half, inch and a quarter or something between this and that. And I had to splice 2 pieces together because I didn't have one piece was not long enough to go all the way around. And I want the splices, got that upside down. I want the splices to come on each in the middle. So I'll bring, when I'm gluing this down, I'll bring that one around and I'll splice it right in here. And then bring this one around and splice it, and then I'll use a piece of cardboard to put them together. And I will paint the inside of this somehow. I don't know if I'll paint it a color or just a brown or stain it or what. But that's my plans, to make a little tray. And maybe some bowl stuffers. I don't know. I don't know yet, so... But that's my plan. But I am going to get my... I'm going to lose it. I might as well put that aside, because both of these are going to have to be done and dry. And I didn't get my stain out. I tried to get everything. So I'm just going to stain my board and let it dry. And then I'll come back and show you. Probably do about the same thing I done with my bucket, because I like that technique. I like the rust look. I think that will look good on here. But I'm going to finish staining this, and then I'll start on the cardboard pieces. Alright, my tray has changed a bit. Instead of just being a tray with sides, I've decided I want to put a little light in it. So I found a tube from a tin foil, you know, is empty. I saved those, and this will go down in there. And I made this little ring here. Let's see, I had to size it. Oh, I know that goes down on there because I've done it. Anyways, that goes down on there like that. And then this will raise up and set on, I'll glue it on right here, so the hole doesn't show. And I didn't have a big enough bit. The biggest bit I had was 1 1/8, and I probably needed either 1 1/4 or 1 1/2. But so I just cut some little slits here, and I'll feed that down through there after I have this painted, and I'll squeeze that down in there and glue it. It's the best. That's all I have to work with right now. But I've got to paint this and this little top here, and I am going to put some wax, brown wax over this wood. It's just looking a little dull. But I've got to get started on all that. I could have had this finished if I hadn't been dreaming up other things. Alright, I got to get started doing this other stuff. Alright, I'm going to start on my strip so it can be drying, and I'm going to do it the same way I done my basket. And this is just Mod Podge and coffee. And I'm going to coat it with that. I'll do about half of it. And then, well, not quite half, because I felt go off on my paper. So I'll just do this right in here like this. That right there, and then I'm going to put my cinnamon on it. scoot that back. Just sprinkling it on. Some of it's heavy, some of it's not. If I want more in places, I can do it later. We'll see what it looks like. I'm going to pounce it. Now, I think I'll just kind of do this to glue a lot of the powder cinnamon, the powdery cinnamon down. Okay. That should be okay. Now I'll start on the rest of it. And that's what I'm going to do all the way across. And then I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to start on the candle piece now. And I'm using Dixie Belle drop cloth. I'm going to give this a coat of this. And let it dry. And then I'll probably go over it with Mod Podge. That coffee Mod Podge mixture. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to be doing this one. So... but I do know it needs one coat of this, for sure. I'll let this dry, and then I'll come back, and we'll see what else I'm going to do with it. All right, now I'm just going to go over this with some brown Jolie wax. And I'm not trying to take it easy on there because I like the darker color on it. I'm going to rub it in good. And then I'll just kind of wipe it just a little bit so there's not globs setting everywhere. And let it dry. See, that color looks way better than this dull color. To me, anyways. Well, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to paint the candle part. And I done this with the Mod Podge and coffee. And sprinkled little coffee grounds. Fresh coffee, or not fresh, but used... it's not instant. It's regular coffee grind. And I sprinkled that over it. But I thought with the edges being rusty and the dark inside, I didn't want something else dark. And I'm going to put a silicone bulb in it that I've done. So I've come up with, I put a little bit of Mod Podge in here and sprinkled just probably, I'd say, 1/4 of a teaspoon of instant coffee in there and stirred it up real good. And then just like a pinch of coffee grounds, regular coffee grounds in there. And I think this is the way it turned out. So I'm going to go with that. That's the way I'm going to go. Because I think that way the candle part won't be dark too. I'm just going to put this on there really good and let it dry. Because it's got the coffee grounds in it. The instant coffee for the color. And I think that will work. And I forgot that I wanted some candle drips. So I'm going to let this dry. And I've turned on my glue gun. And I'm going to do some candle drips on this. I started doing this and forgot to film any of it. So... now, I'll let that dry and then go back over it with the, the mixture that I just poured in something else. It may not be as dark. I forgot I had to do this and go over it, and I poured this in with just a little bit of Mod Podge I had so I wouldn't waste it. We'll see what it looks like. I mean, it's still... okay, sit there. It's just not quite as dark. I might add just a pinch of coffee, instant coffee to it so I don't mess up my color. I wasn't thinking, as usual. And I mean, a very small bit. Let's see. Add just a tiny, tiny bit more. Not much. I know that's all I'm going to do. And then when they're dry, I'll put this back over it again. Okay, this is dry. And for the back side of it, I'm not going to rust it or anything. I'm just going to go over it with a coat of the coffee or the coffee Mod Podge, and let it dry. And I'll have to, when I glue this on to the other piece, because I'll put a piece back there on the other end also, I'll go over it with it. Okay, now I need, since I'm going to have a cord running out the bottom, I need some feet. I didn't want anything real tall, so I had these 1-inch half circles, and I'm just going to glue those down and probably find a board or something to set on top with something heavy so they, you know, till they dry or somewhat dry before I move on with my project. My candle's drying. Okay, I'm just going to put them on the corners, and I'm using fabric tack. And I just need it high enough so the cord can come out from the bottom. That's why I use these smaller feet or half circles. And I stained them with my Faux Arc wax. Okay, that is good. Now I'm going to find something, a board or something to lay across here. I'm going to look and make sure I have them pretty much all in the same spot. And I'll lay the board across it and put something heavy on it to put some pressure, and so they glue down good. Okay, I have went around this with some tacky glue. I'm going to glue this on now. So I'm going to put that one edge that I have that on in the center there, but I want to start by putting some glue down, some hot glue. And holding it down for a little bit. And I'm going to work all the way around doing this, because I'm going to have to hold it for a little bit. I want it to stay good. And I got to make sure I get it even on the bottom. So it's going to take some time for me to work around doing that. Okay, is that... So I'm going to do this off camera, and then I'll come back, and I'm making a mess. All right, now it is ready, I think, now to put my light in. And for me to attach that, I have painted this up, put that wood piece there on there. And now I'm going to choose the side that I want to be the front. And I don't know that it really matters at this point. I think about like that. I think that's fine. I'm going to feed this cord down through there. Get this out of the way. And I don't want to spill this. The tricky part's going to get this to stay in there because I didn't have a bit that was big enough. If I had had a bit just about 1/8 of an inch bigger, it would have went in there and I could have glued it just fine. I've cut little slits in that. I've got to get it started. Kind of bending right there. Okay, is that coming out that way? I don't like the way it's wrinkling real bad there. But I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. I'm just going to have to put some hot glue on it and cover it up with... Okay, hang right there. I don't want to get hot glue all over everything. All right, here it goes. Wished I'd have had a bigger bit. I'm just going to have to cover it up. Don't like the way that looks. But it is what it is. Make sure it's straight. See, I have a little bend in my candle right there, or my tube, but it's going to have to be that way. And I always keep probably something down in this anyway. It's going to have some stuffers in it. Now, I'm going to feed it through here. Make sure it's glued good. Okay, I'm going to push that where it's bending. Up against the wood. Whoa. I'm going to have to hold it for a little bit. And hopefully it's straight and secure. All right, let me plug this in and see what it's going to look like. That is not glued good. I'm going to have to hold that now because I was tugging on it. That's in there good. Yep, it's lighting up.